Hello, everybody, and welcome into my latest live broadcast. It's Wednesday, the 27th of September, 2023. My name is Carey Holzman, and thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. We're going to do a review today of a mini PC. This is from the good folks at GEEKOM, and the model is called the A5. It's on pre-order, back order. It's supposed to ship at the end of this month, which we're pretty much at the end of this month, and we've got a special discount code for you, whether you want to buy it from GEEKOM Direct or from Amazon. We've got both links in our video notes. I would be remiss if I did not thank our good friends over at $300 Data Recovery. We've been promoting them and encouraging the use of them if you need data recovery services for years. And it's something I did on my own. I discovered them. I stumbled upon them somehow. And I couldn't believe what they were doing was real because they're so much cheaper than everybody else. And they're fast. They're the highest rated data recovery company on the planet. They've been in business since 2007 when he named the company $300 Data Recovery. Not sure he thought that one through. Because there it is, 2023, and it's still called $300 Data Recovery. If you ever find yourself or anybody you care about in a situation where you need data recovery services, which you and the people you care about should never need data recovery services, you should always have backups, and you should always verify those backups work before you need them. But be that as it may, no sense crying over spilled milk. There's no reason to pay 3 to 4 times more and wait even longer for a service that is probably not even as experienced as Brian Cometa and his team over at $300 Data Recovery. We've got a link to them in the video notes below this video. Check them out. We also have a few interviews with them over the years, and it's fascinating because he explains how everything works. Very few people in the data recovery industry expose how they do their stuff. They're usually pretty tight-lipped about it. So very refreshing. And Brian's not hungry for the work. Just say. Nothing wrong with getting a little bit more work. I just want to save you guys money. And yeah, check out the Yelp reviews, price compare them to other professional data recovery services, and come to your own conclusion. Talk to people that have used them. I've never met anybody who's used them that had anything but praise. So our thanks to them for sponsoring us throughout September and October. And I also want to thank the folks over at GEEKOM. GEEKOM sent us this 20th anniversary gift box. Now, I've not been working with GEEKOM for 20 years. Very much would like to say I have. But they've been a real pleasure to work with in the limited interactions we've had. It's been professional. It's been pleasurable. And the computers that we've reviewed, I think we've only reviewed one prior to this, if I'm not mistaken, was very well built, good quality. And, you know, one of the things is sometimes I can be a little torn emotionally when I deal with a company that acts less than professional, or let me rephrase, the company themselves, the employees of other companies who I won't name, may be a pleasure to interact with, but the products they make are very difficult for me to recommend because they're kind of chintzy. Maybe the support isn't there. When I'm dealing with a company that makes a quality product and sells it at a fair price and they're professional, these are the people I want to showcase on the channel. And especially if they're not some big, gigantic mega corporation that can pay for their own reviews, which is what a lot of the big companies do. So as far as GEEKOM goes, they're a bit larger than most mini PC manufacturers. However, they're not so big as to become some bureaucratic, at least not in my experience, entity where the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. When I've contacted them, there's always been quick to respond, and we never have issues with miscommunications. And anyway, I was surprised when I got this gift box from them. And it's their 20th. It's just a little gift box to celebrate 20 years. And since our relationship is fairly new, I didn't expect to be on the list of people receiving this gift, but it is very impressive. Very few companies these days do this. They've included just a little fun thing here. We've got a little Rubik's Cube with the GEEKOM logos on it and such. They've got an index card here that says, or postcard, first 20 years, grateful to have you. Next 20 years, hope you're still here, together with GEEKOM for a shared future. I think that's very professional, first class. They've included this notebook, a personal agenda that has metal covers. That's decent. That's better than decent. They don't sell those at Walmart. Anyway, they also included this GEEKOM Lego-like, I guess that's their logo, this owl. His name is Geegle. And so the other night I was just looking for something to distract my brain. They knew the right thing to send to people like us. It has way more parts than it really needs, but that's what kept me interested, right? And so, and everything was, the instructions were just pictured. And you had to look at the pictures very closely to really understand how this was to go together. It was a fun challenge and it was unexpected. And I thank the folks over at GEEKOM for including us in this. Like I said, I was not expecting that. It's very much a first class professional, classy thing to do. So let's see, who do we have in the chat? Welcome in, everybody. Now, the other day I turned the chat on to members only because I was getting people providing false information in the live chat. And I'm a bit of a stickler when it comes to false information. It's rife on the internet. There's no shortage of it. I don't want it here on my channel. So all comments are held for approval so that we can ensure that nobody's poisoning the well of our community or trying to sow any discontent. If they don't like it here, they can leave. Now, unfortunately, a lot of times they don't leave. They just they give nothing but complaints and criticisms and spout bad information. If this occurs in our chat room again today, I will once again, in the middle of the broadcast, if it starts happening, switch it back to members only. And I will do this repeatedly until either I just leave it on members only or people get the clue and start being courteous and respectful. All right. So yesterday, the stream went so much better after I did that. I think you'll all agree. I'm not paid enough to tolerate it. And it makes teaching very difficult when I have to correct false information that shouldn't have been placed there to begin with. Individuals can believe anything they want to, but if they want to spout that to a worldwide audience, they can go on their own YouTube channel and do that there. They're not welcome to use my stage to spout their agenda. All right, so common courtesy, I don't think it's much to ask. So right now we're on subscriber mode only. You just need to be a subscriber for 5 minutes to this channel and you are welcome to join us unless one person ruins it for everybody. That's all it takes. Nigel Tustin has become a supporter. Right on. Thank you, Nigel. And Mike Naomi has also become a supporter. You guys rock as we remain, I say sponsor free. We've taken on $300 data recovery, but we're charging them a very, very tiny little amount of money for what a traditional sponsorship would cost because we want to help each other out. And so it helps me out a little. It helps them out, I hope, at least a little, if not more. And I think it's a wonderful service you guys should be made aware of. And by sponsoring me, I've committed to talking about it a lot. So it'll be on your mind. You may not need data recovery services today or tomorrow, but it's like an advertisement for a car on television. You'll see car advertisements multiple times throughout the day, every day. How often do you buy a car? The idea is that they've implanted that in your brain so many times that when it comes time to buy a car, likely one particular brand that is probably one you've seen more may come to mind to at least check out. So we hope that when and if the day comes that you or anybody you know needs data recovery, that I've repeated it enough times, that's the first place you'll check out. And I do absolutely encourage you to call other data recovery companies and get time estimates and cost estimates. Come to your own conclusion. So when people are supporters of the channel, they're helping us to be able to buy equipment that we can use to make content with. Today, the folks over at GEEKOM sent us this at no cost, but also with no contract. We are under no obligation to air this video by a certain day or to say or not say anything. I'm free to be me and to tell you honestly my evaluation. I'm also free to make mistakes. I'm free to misunderstand or to overlook things that may be features that I just didn't catch. That does happen. Computers are complex. They've lots of tiny moving parts, and each manufacturer puts their own touch on things. And that may be or may not be of value to me personally, or it may be something I'm not aware of. I'm just like you. I'm going to buy a product, I'm going to open it up out of the box, and I'm going to start using it and playing with it. And I just want you to share the experience and discovery with me. These videos are all live, unscripted, unrehearsed, and we're going to go through this the first time together. See what our first impressions are. As a working technician in the field for over 30 years, things should be pretty obvious to me. If they're not, it may be because I wasn't paying close enough attention, or the engineering of it made it less than intuitive. We'll find out as we go through this. I can tell you that the previous GEEKOM machine I was very impressed with. So I'm expecting more of the same. Let's hope they're consistent. We're going to find out. Thank you to, let's see, what do we have? Paul O'Brien contributes €2. Paul joining us from Ireland. Planet Cryos with a $5 super chat said, it's about to get real, people. Carey is the man, in case you didn't understand. Grab a seat and hold on. It's going to be good, like always. I appreciate that, Planet Cryos. I just don't want to tolerate any nonsense. Trying to get something accomplished and to have people interfere unnecessarily and in an unwelcome way is disruptive, distracting, and a waste of everyone's time. It's discourteous. So I don't tolerate it. If that makes me the man, then so be it. I'm just trying to get a job done. And yeah. Lit Greenia joins us. Says hello, everyone, from the Green Mountain State. It's Vermont. He says it's 72 degrees Fahrenheit there. Douglas Burchell says hello. Essential Working Too Hard says hello. As does Garfield Rupe, Chris Smith, and David Graham. Welcome in, everybody. Nick Caffrey and Ron Varnish. Thomas MacT. We've got viewers all over the world. There's Marlena DG. She says that GEEKOM may be joining us today. I hope so. I hope GEEKOM will join us in the chat room. Oystein says hello. Hey, Oystein, I got your email that you sent just before going live. I haven't had time to respond to you yet, but thank you for supporting the channel in all the ways that you do. The words aren't enough. I'd give you a hug. I will get back to you. Thank you for doing what you do. It's folks like Oystein and Buster and John Wilson and, well, so many of you, Planet Cryos and Luke Greenia, who are just the staples of the support foundation of this entire community and this channel. And this channel would not be the same without all of my friends in blue and all of my friends in green. You have no idea how much that means to me, and I will emphasize that as often as possible. Oh, our friends at Acronis are joining us. Hello to Begowden. I know you said you were going to call me, Begowden. No call ever came. Looking forward to talking to you. Call me. Always welcome to see our folks and our friends from Acronis joining us. If you have questions for Acronis, they are in the house. Ask away. That man with the name Acronis in the chat room. He knows Acronis like the back of his hand. You're much better asking him than asking me about Acronis. I know the basics for what I use it for. He knows everything about Acronis. Maybe about other stuff too, but definitely about Acronis. Take advantage of it while he's there. Ben Laird joins us from Scotland. Oystein joins us from Norway. As I mentioned, we have a worldwide audience here. There's our friend Buster. We call him Buster. His name is Peter Laycock. He joins us from Scotland. He's a benefactor to this channel. He's contributed 10 pounds in Super Chat, and he says, "Good evening, Carey and Marlena and everyone in the chat. All the best from Bonnie, Scotland, where the temperature in Edinburgh is 60 degrees Fahrenheit or 15 degrees Celsius and raining." Oh, man, I would trade with you, Buster. It will be 105 degrees today, September 27, 2023, in Phoenix, Arizona, setting a record for the hottest September 27th ever on record. But it should be cooling down after that. Hopefully this is the last hot over 100-degree day for a while. We'll see. Thank goodness for air conditioning. Ben Fitzpatrick says hello, as does Shamim Kejviras. And Nick Poverman saying hello. Welcome in, Nick. Steve Mercure, Darren Gilholm. Bill Knott says hello. Welcome in, Bill. Arnold Elbert, John Science Rock says hello from New Jersey. Pete Tracker 34, Badging Guy. Jose Casimiro says hello, as does Gary McGraw. Mark Gaines, joining us from Northern Ireland, contributes 10 pounds. It says, "Good evening, Carey and Marlena and everyone in the chat room. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Always good to see you here. Always good to see all of you. Tim Teal, Barry Klein, Utomo, and Peter all say hello. LRCX renews his membership, now a member for 3 months. Thank you, Larry. Jason Wyrick saying hello, and thank you to the contributors. Joseph Hawkins, Alan with a Y. Love when people do that. Speaking of the devil, I guess he's not the devil. John, or as we call him, Jack Wilson, with a $50 super chat. He says, "I'm sorry to have been missing the live streams lately, but family problems have taken me away from sunny and hot South Texas." Well, we totally understand, and well, we miss seeing you. We're always happy to see you when you're here. We appreciate when you have the time that you think of us and you join us. It wouldn't be the same if we never saw you and if you left the community. So, well, we understand we all have lives. Your absence is excused. Jack's a great guy and a veteran. Acronis says, "Yeah, I will call you today, 100%. All right. I look forward to talking with you. Jason Wyrick joining us from Pennsylvania. Planet Cryos with a 99-cent super chat. Everything matters. All those little 99-cent, whatever it is, that all adds up, and I appreciate them all equally. Thank you so much again for supporting the channel. And you can show Planet Cryos a little love by checking out his YouTube channel. He's got excellent videos, and his channel's very small. When a channel is small, usually when it's just starting, that's when you get to interact with the creator a lot more. One of the downsides of a channel getting bigger is you get too many people trying to interact with you and being sometimes demanding of your time. So when you go to a place like Live Windows Training with Doug Betts, or you go to Planet Cryos or Jim KJ3N's YouTube channel, these are all members of our community, and their channels are early and growing. This is the time to get in, right? This is the time, if you enjoy their content, or at least if you like them as people, show them a little love, give them a thumbs up on their videos, give them a subscribe, and do know that in all likelihood, if you reach out to Jim KJ3N or Doug Betts at Live Windows Training with Doug Betts, or a friend, Planet Cryos, I bet there's a really, really good chance you're going to get an answer or response. Not so much with the bigger channels. And Planet Cryos again with a $3 super chat as I was talking. Thank you again. Utomo says, "I am a veteran and glad you are here and have been so for many years." Well, and we certainly appreciate your services, but far more than anything we're doing. So thank you. It is definitely a reciprocated respect for sure. Oh, and Ken Stout. Yeah, let's not forget Ken Stout Live. Thank you for bringing that up. Another member of our community. Oystein is asking Acronis if there is a minimum system requirement for Cyber Protect Home Office. One of my systems are a little slow trying to open the program. You are definitely taking advantage of, because I wouldn't know the answer to that, but I bet you Acronis or Begowden knows the answer. Paul O'Brien says the owl looks just like him. If you look like that, stop calling me daddy, because you wouldn't look like that. Let's get the shrink wrap off of this. As you can see, everything is real. Everything is genuine here. I don't have a second one of these that I get familiar with, and I don't have a shrink wrap machine and I put everything back in to give you the illusion that I know what I'm doing. We're going to find that out for real one way or another. And I also want to show you, if you order one of these, how they're packed. Because if yours doesn't arrive with shrink wrap on it, you might have received an open box unit, just so you know what to look for. Of course, you bought an open box unit, in which case, adjust your expectations accordingly. All right, so let's see what we got here. Here's how it's packed. That's a nice presentation. We have a standard size mini PC here in a bit of an unusual color, but otherwise it looks pretty, the form factor looks like a common form factor. If anything, maybe just a little bit smaller, but the dimensions are all there. We got lots of I/O. Let's go over this. Set that here. Get this out of here, out of our way. And before we go too much further, we'll see what's in the box. There's a thank you card. Dear customer, thank you for purchasing our products. I should put my glasses on. To facilitate your daily life, we hope they serve you well. Your trust and support are greatly appreciated. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact us. How many mini PC manufacturers encourage you to reach out if you have a question? I think that's pretty awesome. And then we have a little information about GEEKOM on the back of this card. It says GEEKOM was founded in 2003. Over 18 years, GEEKOM put all its effort into the research, design, production, and sale of quality computer products. Thanks to the excellent products and services, the GEEKOM brand is widely recognized and supported by users worldwide. We have also set up strategic partnerships with well-known global brands, including Intel and Kingston and Asus. With us, more people will learn, work, play, and do more efficiently and easily. www.geekompc.com, support@geekompc.com. And they have an Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube channel. So you can go to GEEKOM's YouTube channel and give them a subscribe. We want to see their promotions and their PR of the machines. I'm sure they have a very high production value. Okay, then finally, in the rest of the box, we have a standard Mickey Mouse power cable, and this one looks like it's a good length. It's really well made. I like that one. We've got an HDMI cable. We have a power brick. This power brick, it has an output of 19 volts at 6.32 amps. Now, it doesn't say GEEKOM anywhere on it. I wish the companies would at the very least put a sticker on here, because the barrel connector that we're using is very common. It's in use by everything from clock radios from the 80s and 90s to portable fans and all different kinds of electronic items. And a lot of consumers, you know, when the power adapter gets separated from the device it belongs to, and it doesn't identify the name on the power adapter, consumer just says, well, the plug fits, it must be the right one. And that will almost always damage whatever you've plugged into it if you didn't guess correctly. Just because this plug fits doesn't mean you've got the right adapter. And depending on how many adapters you've got will determine what the odds are of you being right. So at the very least, I would grab like a silver Sharpie, since this is black, and I will write GEEKOM on it, or A5, something to identify, should this unit and this unit get separated over time, you wouldn't want to plug the wrong adapter in this and burn this up. That definitely will not be a warranty issue. So some big manufacturers like Sony, Asus, they will often put their name on the power adapter. A lot of the other smaller companies, you know, they don't make the power adapters. They're buying them from a power adapter company. It's making them to their specification. But at the very least, they could put a little sticker on it, or include a sticker that the customer, you know, recommend, hey, you might want to label that power adapter. Pretty easy thing to avoid a tragedy. We've got some screws, which I'm guessing is for a VESA mount. Yes, we have a VESA mount. A VESA mount is used to attach to the back of your monitor so that you can hang the computer off the back of the monitor and not even see anything. You won't even see cables. Now, that could be difficult to reach USB ports or plugs, but if it's not something you normally need and you want it out of sight and free up that desk space, it's a nice option to have. You could even be creative with this and attach it to the side of a desk or hang it on the wall. Finally, we've got some documentation here. And this is going to tell us all about the breakdown of the unit. And then it's multiple languages here on the back. Each square, I think, is a different language. Looks like we've got about four. Well, on the back, if this all says the same thing, then it's written in 8 different languages. That should cover the gamut, huh? All right. Now this is like folding a map. Back and forth, right? Back and forth. Hey. Okay. Well, let's put that back in there, and we'll put, I don't need the power cord because I'll use the standard power cord I've got here. I won't need the HDMI cable or the screws. So we'll put all that back. And let's take a look at the GEEKOM website, see what all these ports are, instead of me guessing, because I don't know how fast the USB ports are by looking at them. So let's take a look. See a lot of questions for Acronis in there today. I'm happy to see you guys taking advantage of their presence in our chat room. Philip Knudsen says hello from Sweden. Welcome in, Philip. Okay, so we're going to go over to the website, which I have here. And let me go turn on my screen capture, or window capture. Here it is. Hey, here's what we're looking at today. The GEEKOM A5 Mini PC, which is based on an AMD Ryzen 7. It's normally manufacturer suggested retail price of $499, on sale for $399 as a pre-sale. It contains an AMD Ryzen 7 5800H processor with Radeon Vega 8 graphics. It will allow up to 64 gigs of dual channel DDR4 3200 speed RAM. Given that the largest you can buy is 32 gigs, and you've got two sockets, the math is pretty simple. 64 is pretty standard. PCIe Gen 3 by 4 NVMe SATA SSD. Storage up to 2 terabytes. Usually that's storage is not true. In most cases, if it says storage up to 2 terabytes, that is likely old information when 2 terabytes was the largest you could buy. In my experience, anything that says storage up to 2 terabytes should be interpreted to storage up to 8 terabytes, since you can now buy 8 terabyte drives, as long as you've got the ability to cool an 8 terabyte drive. Although why you would spend twice as much for your storage as you would for the computer is beyond me. Just know that this is frequently told, but it is not many reviewers catch this. There is no such thing as a 2 terabyte limit. I think it's from the old days of when 2 terabytes was the biggest drive you could buy, and they just keep carrying that over. Comprehensive I/O ports for full-featured connectivity. All right, we'll get more into that. Supports 8K displays and multiple screens with Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.2. There are various configurations, but it doesn't seem to be offered as a bare bones, which, if that's the case, we always like to see the option for people that want to provide their own storage operating system and RAM, and have that option. That'd be nice to see. So we go through just different performance ratings and tests they've done, and memory speeds, yada, yada, yada. It says it's got 2 HDMI ports that support 4K 60. It's got a Type-C USB 3.2 Gen 2 that supports 8K video output at 30 hertz. And it's got 2 of those, I guess, one in the front, one in the back, both. So you can have 4 monitors hooked up to this bad boy. The A5 Mini PC is packed with various connection options for a range of devices, including 3 USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A ports, 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type C ports, and 1 USB 2.0 Type A port. I usually use the USB 2.0 port personally for a keyboard or mouse dongle. No sense wasting a high-speed port for that. It's got 2 HDMI 2.0B ports. The addition of a 2.5 gig RJ45 LAN port also gives you access to high-speed internet connections for faster data transfer. I will have to look in the device manager and see if that's Realtek or Intel. Some people need to know that if they want to put Linux on the box. They talk about their cooling and show the computer mounted behind the monitor here. That's what the VESA mount is for. They mention it has a high-strength metal frame, and that's good if you want to secure this with a Kensington lock, which I have demonstrated in the past. You can lock it down so no one will walk off with it, at least not easily. It's got Windows 11 pre-installed and a 3-year warranty with 24-hour customer service. All right, let's go back up to specifications. Right here. Here's our form factor, our weight, CPU details, TDPs 35 watts, RAM, storage. I guess it'll use either NVMe or SATA. We'll see which one they gave us. I'm guessing they gave us NVMe. Operating system, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, Kensington lock port. Yes, you have to provide the Kensington lock. That's not included, but they're cheap. You can pick them up on eBay for under 10 bucks, brand new. Or you can go to Office Max, Staples. They sell them there for under 20 usually. Sort of like chaining up a bicycle with the Kensington. All right, so the other thing is if we look at Amazon. Now at Amazon, we've got the GEEKOM A5 Mini PC here. you'll see the price is $479.99, and you say, now wait a minute, wasn't the price $399 at GEEKOM? Oh, there's an $80 coupon. That's going to bring it down to $399. But we have an additional coupon, both for the GEEKOM site and for the Amazon site, using a code. That's in the video description below the video. That takes like another 20 bucks off the price. It's like $100 off there, right? $379, I think, is what the coupon code is. I think it's $20. And that's in addition to this $80 coupon code if you buy from Amazon. This has 33 ratings on Amazon with a 4.5 average review. That's pretty good. I want to see what the 2-star. I always want to see if the people leaving the critical reviews are reasonable people. Because a lot of times, about half the time, these people are nut jobs. But sometimes they make available, just read the word. Sometimes they make valid points. Let's see. We have just one 2-star review. Out of the 33 reviews, only one. I had high hopes. Their Wi-Fi on their site said it was by Intel, but mine came with a Realtek, which has been nothing but unreliable. Okay, so here we go. We've got somebody, like your average customer couldn't care less who makes the network card. It's somebody more technical that cares about that. And they might have a valid reason for caring about that. I do know from experience in manufacturing that sometimes a network card chip or a sound chip may be unavailable. So in order to keep production moving forward, you find the equivalent. So let's say you're using Intel chips and then suddenly they dry up and now your whole production's halted unless you can get some 2.5 gig network cards, chips to solder on. It's a pretty simple process to simply put down a different manufacturer's chip and then provide a different driver. It's not a big re-engineering or retooling of the factory. But it would be nice, granted, if they are making those changes, to say as much and say, look, it's possible you could get Intel or you could get Realtek, or don't mention it at all. And that's why we'll look at it in the device manager, but I've seen that happen commonly throughout the industry. So it's not as though this person has been so wronged. GEEKOM's own site provides only an Intel driver. The wired LAN connection can be unreliable. I like the form factor, but the fan cycles frequently and can be loud. Performance-wise, I was impressed with the quad-core Celeron. Oh, this isn't even the same machine. This is something else entirely. Usually under the review, it'll say what they're reviewing. In this case, they're not reviewing the GEEKOM A5. Also, pay attention to that as well. This critical review is not on the GEEKOM A5. It's on a different model, and I don't know. It said they left this review earlier this month, but I don't understand why they're talking about Celeron. This is clearly not a Celeron. Far, far from it. So, devil's in the details. Read these reviews open-minded. This is a portable mini PC. I guess they meant to say portable. All right, so enough fun with that. Let me go back over to camera one here. We get an idea what to expect, right? Now, I am kind of curious. I'll tell you what, I was going to open it up and see what it looks like inside, but let's make sure it works first. Because if it works and then I open it up and it doesn't work, then I know I broke it. But if I open it up, we look at it, we put it back together and it doesn't work, then I won't know. Did it not work from the get-go, or did it not work because I did something I shouldn't have done? So we're going to verify this works. First and foremost, I'm going to bring this up to the camera and show you the ports close up. Okay, so here's the front of the unit, and you've got your two USB 3s. These are super speed, the blue ports. I think these are 5 gigs per second. I don't know the speed of these. And then we've got a headset jack and our power button. Come around the side, that's our Kensington lock port. That's where you will attach a lock if you are worried about somebody walking off with this. We have a memory card reader. That's a nice touch. And then across in the back, we've got our two HDMIs. We've got our USB 2 and USB 3, our two USB 3.2s, and our 2.5 gig LAN, and our barrel style power input. Okay, pretty straightforward. Nice venting on the sides and the back. Start plugging things in. On first boot up, I will not plug in the internet because I don't want it to force me to create a Microsoft account. It doesn't matter which HDMI port I use. I need a keyboard and a mouse. Let me move, let's see, keyboard and a mouse. Turn these on. These have rechargeable batteries built into them. They charge up through USB. I don't use these a lot. I use them frequently, but not for hours at a time. So the batteries in these last me like 3 or 4 months. One wireless dongle controls them both. And I'll use that USB 2.0 port for that back here. And I think that's it. I think we're ready to power on once I give this power adapter some juice. So I'll grab my little Mickey Mouse style power adapter. We call it a Mickey Mouse or cloverleaf. It's not Mickey Mouse in the sense that it means it's cheap. It's Mickey Mouse in that when you look at the end of the power cable, it looks like the silhouette of Mickey Mouse. That's all that is. All right, so I'm going to turn this unit on. There's a blue light that has come on, still air blowing out the back of it. And I'm going to go over to, got to use the right mouse. We'll go over to HDMI input. And we're doing our very first boot up. Everything is live and unscripted, so no idea what's going to happen other than I have an idea of what should happen. All right. But, you know, if they sent us a bad unit or if the unit got damaged in shipping, I don't have any preparation for that. So want to have a real experience just like you would have if you decide to order one of these. So we go through the setup here of finishing the Windows out-of-box experience. United States English, yes. United States country, yes. US keyboard. Second language keyboard. No, I don't want to add a second language to my keyboard. Now, it wants to connect us to Wi-Fi. In order for us to bypass this, we have to hit Shift and F10 once I get the keyboard connected. Once we open that, click once so that the window is in focus and type in OOBE / that's out of box experience, bypass NRO, enter, and it's going to reboot, and we're going to go through the same things all over again. That's pretty standard by default, the way Windows installs, the way Microsoft configures it. It can be, the install can be customized to automatically add that, but I'd rather the manufacturers leave the ISO image, the install image of Windows 11 alone. So I appreciate that GEEKOM hasn't modified that. Turn this around so you guys can see it, and I will go to, go over to camera 1, and I'll put myself in the corner so you can see me at the same time. So I'll just grab this here. There we go. Just like that. Boasting says the mini PC is $500 USD, $500 US, for us in Norway, including a 25% value-added tax and free shipping. You should be able to use the coupon code and check if that's the price at Amazon or is that the price at GEEKOM PC. You might see 2 different prices there. You might just want to check that. Okay, I'm going to answer these questions the same. And when we get to this part, we now have this option that says, I don't have internet. And it says, but, and you have to tell it twice. Then it'll let you create the local user account. First, we've got to agree to the end user license agreement. And then you can create your local user account, which I will just call user. Enter. I'm going to leave the password blank, so I just hit enter. I always like to leave location settings on so my date and time can be always kept up to date. And if I want to search for some business near me that I want to go to a restaurant or I need a tire fixed, I can type in where's the such and such store near me, and I don't have to specify where I am because location settings will provide that information. So did I miss anything? I got it all. Did it accept? And now it'll finish the preparations of the Windows 11 install, at which point I can then plug it into the network or connect it to Wi-Fi and start getting my Windows 11 updates. They just had a Windows 11 update the other day. That's a feature update, not a security update. And it's called Movement 4 or something. It's not the big 23H2, but it does add a bunch of bells, whistles, and features to Windows 11. Theo Joe recently did a video going through what was added. So if you want to learn more about that, check out Theo Joe's video released earlier today on that subject. I don't have to make that video because Theo Joe did it for me, and I won't do it better than he did. I'll tell you that right now. So if you're interested, check that out. Marlena says she's a fan of rose gold. I was excited to see this color. I don't think this is rose gold, is it? Are they calling it rose gold? It's pretty faded for a rose gold. Did they say on the box what color it is? Well, I will say that on the box, the color looks a little bit brighter. Still, it's not a common color. I can't say I've seen that color before. So I guess if it's a rose gold, it's a rose gold, but it's not as deep of a rose color as I'm accustomed to seeing. Nonetheless, it's not your typical black computer box, right? Steve Mercure says, Carey, argue with a lady about color and you're just asking for trouble. Tim Allen used to make a joke about that, where somebody, his wife would say something like, do you like my nails? And he's like, oh, that's pretty red color. That's not red, you stupid man. And then they'll name some, chartreuse, or I don't even know what color chartreuse is. All right. All right, let's see. Arm Spreckle says, greetings from the Netherlands. Right on. Welcome. Everybody here is welcome. As long as you're not a jerk, you're always welcome, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what gender, what religion, what age. Just don't be a jerk. It's a really low bar, but you'd be surprised just how many people on the internet can't seem to get over that bar. So we appreciate all of you who have easily gotten over that bar. All right, now, with the system booted up to the desktop, I'm going to go full screen on my side. I don't get to see the screen the way you do at home. You guys get a full screen. I get a little window of the full screen. So when I go full screen, I can no longer see the chat room, except now that I have my little tablet here. In fact, I always, for some reason, my tablet always goes into a low resolution mode. If my video ever looks blurry to you, it's because your video resolution has lowered. In fact, you might just want to take a minute right now to click on the gear icon on the video and verify you're watching in 1080p if your internet connection bandwidth supports that. It will make a massive difference in the picture quality. So now that I can see, we're going to go over here to, well, first I'm going to grab my cable to plug it into the internet. We'll plug that in, and then it's going to change this little world icon here to a little screen that when it obtains an IP address, that's how we know that we're connected to the network. That may take a minute. John Williams says, hey, Carey, nice to see you again. Hope I'm not a jerk. No, you're not a jerk. The fact that you care right there automatically disqualifies you as a jerk. All right. So as you can see, we've got the little screen down here so that we have an IP address assigned to us from the router and we can go online. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Windows Update first and foremost because I expect we're going to be missing quite a few updates. So we go to Windows Update, check for updates. And while it's checking, I'm going to turn this on. And I'm going to go to Advanced Options and turn this, and this on. And then look for any optional updates. And if there are any, regardless of what they are, I always take them. That's just me. Unless it's like for a printer. Won't take optional updates for a printer because it might change the printer interface. And then you're like, hey, where did this setting go? So if you're not having any problems with the printer, maybe just leave that alone. But everything else, I will grab blindly. Now, to answer the question regarding who makes the network card, let's go into the device manager and let's take a look to make sure that we don't have any exclamation points in here. Let's make sure we have an option called security devices. Without that option in the device manager, you will not be Windows 11 compliant. And while you can install Windows 11 without that, and you can get updates, Microsoft has stated you're not entitled to updates in the future. So at some point, Microsoft may stop delivering updates to non-compatible computers running Windows 11. Regardless, that's not a problem here. And then if we look at the network adapters, we can see that Realtek, I have to walk up close to the screen to read that model number. Realtek makes the wireless LAN adapter based on an 8852BE. Just below that, you'll see Realtek Gaming 2.5 gigabit Ethernet family controller. So we're Realtek across the board here. I much prefer to have one manufacturer for both my wired and wireless. Sometimes manufacturers will mix wireless and wired, from one from Realtek and one from Intel. It's fine. It's just support-wise, I like to be able to go to one website to download the latest drivers, whether I'm going to Realtek or whether I'm going to Intel, versus having to go to both of them if I want to update drivers. We can also verify whether or not this machine is activated. So if I right-click on the Start menu and go to System, we can verify the CPU that's installed. We can verify the amount of RAM. We have 32 gigs of RAM installed, which is very respectable. And we can verify we have Windows 11 Pro, version 22H2, which is the current version. Sometimes we get new mini PCs that have 21H2. GEEKOM is not being lazy and giving us an old image. That's always good to see, because I wasn't lazy when I earned the money to pay for the product. So it's nice to see the same consideration returned. And then we take a look at activation settings. See if Windows is activated. Activation state is active. Perfect. Go back over to Windows Update and we see how it's progressing. The fan is noticeable, the fan noise. I don't know that I would define it as being loud, but it's definitely not silent. You know this is on. Now, maybe when we push it hard, maybe that fan noise will get louder. I don't know, but right now, just its idling fan speed, you definitely can hear it. But it's not like I have to talk loud above it or anything like that. Now, some people are more sensitive to noise than others, and measuring the decibel level to me is a waste of time, because the decibel level in a bigger room with carpeting, without carpeting, will measure, generally speaking, higher than a smaller room that's carpeted and has a lot of furniture and things to absorb the noise. So then we have individuals' ears. Everybody's ears are a little different. The older we get, generally, the more we start losing the higher frequencies and lower frequencies, and not even hear it at all. So things that are so subjective, like whether or not that's rose gold and whether or not rose gold is an attractive color, level of sound, unless it's extreme one way or the other, like it's extremely silent or it's extremely loud, I don't know what to say about it other than what would you expect with a Ryzen 7. It's a fairly intense processor. If you want something really quiet, don't get something so powerful. Makes sense, right? But I would not, I would not say that this fan is unusually loud or anything like that, especially when compared to other mini PCs equipped similarly. Boasting says it looks like a great unit so far. I'll see on their webpage if they have a 13th gen Intel mini PC as well. I'd be curious if anybody from GEEKOM has joined us, and if so, if they would identify themselves in the chat room for us, because they could be there. David Moore mentions GEEKOM has a UK website and apparently UK offices, and has provided the link for that in the chat room. Thank you for that, David. Richard Rogers joins us in the chat, says hello. Dwayne Blackwelder says hello. Eddie Casanova joining us. Peter VZ with a €1 contribution. Thank you, Peter. Weisting said it's a pre-sale, so I guess they haven't released it yet. That's my guess too, because it says back-ordered / pre-sale. So I'm like, well, does that mean it came out and they ran out? But it looks like it's a brand new, fresh from the factory release. That seems to be the case. Paul O'Brien said it's rose gold because Rose told me. Okay. That makes sense. Joseph Hawkins says he's been watching me for a few years now. Well, normally I'd call the police. Somebody says that. No, I appreciate your loyalty and for being a member of this community for a number of years. I think he is in New Zealand, or is it Australia? I'm American, so to me, they're both the same place. It's terribly offensive, isn't it? Joseph says New Zealand. All right, so Joseph is a Kiwi. Right on. Okay, so where are we at? We're just downloading that final update, a cumulative update preview. These generally take a couple minutes to install. That's par for the course. But while I'm waiting, I'm going to go into the power plan here and just set this thing. I don't want it to go to sleep on us. So edit power plan, and I'm going to say never to put this computer to sleep. It's not running on batteries. There's no reason to ever put a computer that does not have batteries to sleep, in my opinion. And I'll just set that to 3 hours only because I don't want it to go to sleep while we're doing the video. And these videos could be 3 hours long. I will try to make this video no longer than 2 hours, but we're already halfway there, so no promises. I do want to make sure I'm thorough. I also want to make sure I have time to address any questions or concerns that are in the chat room, specifically as they are regarding this unit. So some people will see that it says pending restart now, but you can also see down here that it says that it's downloading still. Now you can choose to restart it, or you can choose to just be patient as that just now went to install. And I want to let that install because if I don't install it now, I'm going to have to install it after the reboot. So I think instead of just blindly following the option there to restart when it appears, I will use my own sense of preference and pay attention to what the system is actually doing. So even though we're allowed to restart at that point earlier, my preference is to wait until I visually verify and audit that the machine has in fact completed installing everything. Then I'll restart. Otherwise, I think it just takes longer. So I think by just waiting it out now, it saves us time. That's my theory. George says Amazon shows this is in stock and can be delivered by Friday, September 29th. That's interesting. Okay. Dwayne was mentioning the bypass NRO file. It's really just a registry edit. That's all it is. It's making a change in the registry and restarting the computer so that registry change can take effect. I don't know why you would feel the need to have to go look for it. Dwayne mentions after the setup, the file was gone. It was a batch file. It's just a registry edit. If you open bypass NRO and take a look at it, in fact, well, since we're waiting here, if you're just curious, I'll just repeat what I did before. Shift F10. Will that open? No, it only opens during setup. Okay, so we're going to just type in CM. Actually, I don't have to even do it at a DOS prompt, do I? I can just open up Explorer now that we're in Windows. And then we can go to the C drive here. And we could just do a quick search for bypass NRO. Probably should have been more specific where I wanted it to look. Bypass. I'm not quite sure why you would need it after the system's configured and installed. But it is just a registry entry. That's all it is, like one line. Just so you know, I checked it out because I was like, what the heck is this? It's a very strange way Microsoft decided to adopt that, to integrate that. And it may in fact be removed. Or it may be a hidden or system file, so we can change our view to, let's close this out. Let's try this. First of all, this little icon down here, like advertising, I don't like this. And what I'll do to get rid of it is I will type in search, because we're in the search box, and then permissions. I don't even have to type the whole word. You'll see that it appears as a suggestion right up at the top. I'll give that one click, scroll all the way to the bottom where it says more settings. And when I flip this little dialog here to off, that little cartoon down here goes away, and it will stay away until perhaps maybe a big Windows update may turn it back on. So we're still installing, and what I'm going to do now is go back to Windows Explorer and go to View and Show, and I want to show file name extensions, and I want to show hidden items. Then back to the C drive, back to the Windows folder. And I will let this machine just search for bypass. Not sure if it's in the System32 subdirectory or it's in the path. Remember setting paths in the autoexec.bat file back in the day? That would be default areas you wanted the system to search without having to specify the directory. That may be a similar case here, but we'll let that run. It's two things at the same time. Installing updates. You should always install updates, by the way, whenever you get a brand new machine or you just built a machine. That should be the first thing you do, because otherwise you won't be safe online. Zvi says if you restart during an install, the system will start to restart. But during this, it will finish the process. That is correct, yes. Bull142 says, good day, Carey, and everyone in the chat. Welcome in, Bull142. Alvin Shaver joins us, as well as Dom Long and Pete Unwin, Thomas McT. Welcome in, guys. Thanks for joining us. So bypass NRO is in the OOBE subdirectory, it appears. So it's not in System32. You wouldn't find it in System32. You'd find the subdirectory of OOBE, out of box experience. And can we edit this? Can we open it with, let's see, open file location, bypass NRO. Is there an edit? Show more options. edit. And Notepad's all we need to open that. And you'll see it's a batch file, essentially. It says echo off that so you don't see what it's typing on, like what the command is on the screen. Echo off hides the command from appearing on the screen. Without echo off, you'd see this line of text be entered into that next command line. And it's literally registry add HKey local machine software Microsoft Windows current version OOB/V space bypass NRO space /T space reg D word. Oh, they're adding a registry D word with a setting of 1/D 1/F, then a shutdown /R to restart, and then T0 I think is how much time you want it to delay. That's all that is. It's just a batch file. I mean, you could literally have gotten rid of well, OOBE is not a piece of software. When you're typing in that command, you're typing OOBE, you're telling it to go to the OOBE subdirectory. And then when you type in /bypass NRO, then you're telling it to run this command file, which is essentially could have been named a .bat file as far as I can tell. I think it would have worked equally the same. So if you wanted to, you could manually type all this in instead of typing OOBE/bypass NRO. You could type all that in by hand and do it yourself. So that's just there for your convenience. In case you were wondering, not quite done with our install yet. Hey, Jim KJ3N joins us and says hello. Steve McCure thinks OOBE stands for out of body experience. Sometimes, I think. Sometimes. Marlena mentions experienced folks could bypass NRO entirely and just edit the registry and add the D word and set the value and restart the computer. Whatever. There's 6 different ways to accomplish the same task. I tend to go the way that's the easiest. I'd say the laziest, but I really mean the most efficient way. And it should only be something you have to do one time once you get past. Now, look, if you want to create a Microsoft account, that's fine. When I'm getting computers ready for customers, I'm certainly not going to sign into a Microsoft account and then turn around and sign out of it and remember to sign out of it and give it to the customer that way with all the cached files from my account. That's unprofessional. So I always prefer a local account, and I myself do not use a Microsoft account. Just don't want it. And a local account is all I use personally. When you see me activating Microsoft Office or Microsoft Windows, I always do that with a local account. But there's nothing wrong with a Microsoft account. If you want one or you currently have one, then that's something you don't need to worry about. It's the only reason why I run that command is so that I can create the local account. You don't use a local account and you use a Microsoft account, then just follow through the steps the way Microsoft wants you to, and you don't have to follow what I just did. All right, now, what is the SSD included? John wants to know. Well, one easy way, you can click on the My PC icon, right click on the C drive and go to Properties. And under the Hardware tab, it should tell us what it is. It's a Lexar, 512 gig. Now, as for performance, we'll need to run Crystal Disk Mark. We can use, Windows has a built-in drive performance tool we could use. The reason I don't use it is I've always used Crystal Disk Mark, and I always want my results to be coming from the same testing program. Now we can restart. That way, when I'm comparing results from machines I benchmarked 5 or 6 years ago, or further, they're all using the same Crystal Disk Mark. Or if I decided I wanted to use the Windows tool, if such a thing existed way back when I started doing this, which it didn't, as far as I know, it's something that was added in 7 or 8. I think. In any event, I don't use it because I want a consistent response, a consistent measure. Normally, you probably find Crystal Dismark in the Windows built-in drive performance rating. They're going to be pretty similar in most cases, especially with a modern version of Windows. Planet Cryos did a great video showing how to do this. So I will leave that to him if you want to learn more about that. Go back over to our chat room. This is a pretty big update. Also, I have a pretty slow internet connection. The amount of time it took me to download that update has nothing to do with the speed of this computer. That's directly affected by my internet connection. The amount of time the update takes to install, that's going to be the same for you. You should experience with the same model of computer, the same amount of time this is taking in real time. That's why I do this live and unedited, because I think if I edit this and I polish this and everything happens in 5 minutes, it gives you a very inaccurate representation of what the experience is like. So that is a big update that we put in, and it's going to take time to install on the most modern, fastest computers. You know, you could have a Threadripper machine with tons of cores and tons of RAM, and it's still going to take a long time to install that. When I say a long time, it's not like some of the other updates, like the antivirus updates that are more or less, you know, happen in seconds. But it is a pretty sizable feature update. And again, Theo Joe has done an excellent job describing all the changes they've made to Windows 11 in this update. Raj D says, hey, Carey, sorry to be late. Hello, all in chat and Marlene. Welcome in, Raj. Good to see you, my friend. Better late than never. I think I'll get a colder gator. I have to barely touch this and it's already lukewarm. So I'm going to just step off screen here for a second. Into the box here. Grab a fresh one. Gentleman reached out to me, since we're waiting, I'll say a little story. Gentleman reached out to me and said, would you build a computer for me? And I said, would you be interested in anything I have? And he's like, well, this is what I'm looking for. Do you have anything close to that? And I'm like, kind of. Explained what I had. And he has some very specific needs, such that no other customers I've ever encountered has these desires or wants. And the only way he can get that is he's going to have to buy parts I don't have. I don't have anything that'll meet his requirements. So he is, we spoke for about 3.5 hours on the phone and agreed that he will send me a Corsair 200R that he bought a few months back. He wants me to build in it. And as we discussed what was going to meet his needs, I sent him a list of parts from Amazon, and then he can order those parts on Amazon and have them shipped directly to me. And when I have all the parts together, I'll be making a build video on it. So I don't think we're going to have everything in time for Friday. If we do, I'll do it on Friday. If not, you know, I'm always live Friday at 1 o'clock Pacific time. And I usually like to do builds on Fridays, or something big, something on a bigger scale on Fridays. So if not this Friday, then perhaps next Friday. And it's going to be a pretty high-end build, but certainly much cheaper to build it yourself than to buy something like this pre-built. And even if he bought something pre-built, he'd probably have to add some additional hardware to it to meet his requirements versus just building it with everything he needs right out of the gate. So that's going on behind the scene. Ben Laird has contributed £5. Thank you, Ben. Right. We're going to keep revisiting Windows Update until there are no more updates. And that fan, I don't hear it at all right now. So once it finished the updates and got us back to the desktop, it's idling, it's dead quiet. So the good news is, you know when the machine is working, you will hear it. You don't have to wonder, is it doing anything? Oh yeah, I can hear the fan, it's working. You can see that just the way the control panel opens now is a bit different with these updates, which I find personally really annoying, but what can you do? Back over to Windows Update. See if there are any more updates. There likely are. We'll find out here for sure in just a minute. Is there anything about the GEEKOM A5 that you want to know? I'll do my best to try and get an answer for you. John Downey joins us in the chat room, says hello. Welcome in, John. Thanks for saying hello. Get a lot of people who just lurk, just spectators. Those people who don't participate in the chat even so much as saying hello are doing themselves a disservice. They're missing 50% of what this video is offering, which is the interaction. You very, very rarely find this level of interaction on other large YouTube channels. Dwayne Blackwelder says I should check my email. All right, well, since we're waiting here, let's take a look. $10 via PayPal from Michael Carter. Thank you, Michael Carter. Our friend Peter Laycock with a very generous Amazon gift card. He says, thank you for everything you do. Your friend Buster. Thank you so much, Buster. I don't know what we'd do without you. Dwayne Blackwelder sends an Amazon gift card, $25. He says, I'm a little late joining today. Here's my late fee, LOL. Thank you so much, Dwayne, for supporting the channel. Those Amazon gift cards are just the best thing you can do to support the channel, in the sense that almost all the equipment that I buy, you see here on the bench, is purchased from Amazon, whether it's this tablet, the holder, the smaller close-up camera, and its stand. All of that is Amazon. This device I use, it's basically a surge protector that mounts to the desk. The keyboards and mice you see me use, the tools you see me use, all Amazon. And unlike your Super Chat contributions, Amazon doesn't take any of your money. There's no processing fee. So YouTube takes 30% of any Super Chat contribution, and then they make me wait a month before I can get it. Whatever money I earn this month, I won't see until the month after next. It's crazy. If you contribute via PayPal, PayPal will take 3% of your contribution, unless you're sending to a friend from your balance. I think PayPal will tell you if it's, but that's still, I get the money right away. There's only a 3% fee. And I have the option to refund it if you say, hey, you know what? I changed my mind. I want my money back. I can't do anything to help you on the Super Chat. That's between you and YouTube. Finally, there's Amazon gift cards. Amazon gift cards have no processing fee. If you give it X amount of dollars, I get X amount of dollars to the penny. The only difference is if you're in another country and you get me an Amazon gift card, it's whatever the exchange rate is. So if you're getting me 10 pounds, whatever that works out to that day, and it has to come from Amazon.com, or it has to be an Amazon.com gift card. If you send me a gift card in a different denomination, can't use it, unfortunately. The good news is Amazon customer service will be glad to help you for free to correct that, so you can send it in US dollars. And for everybody who contributes, I can't thank you enough. It's because of you guys and because of cooperation from companies like GEEKOM, that we continue to have content for you on a regular basis, sometimes every single day of the week. Alvin Shaver contributes $1.99 in Super Chat. Thank you, Alvin. And I can see we just got some more updates here. We're going to check again. Those updates apparently don't require a restart. Alhej Depej says, hello, chat. Welcome in. Always good to see our friend, whose name I'm not quite sure how to pronounce. I'd call him Alhej. I'm not sure how it's actually spoken. Gil Garcia wants to know, is the mini PC upgradable? We're going to find that out here in just a minute. Once we're done with all our updates, I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to bring the overhead camera out. We're going to see what we have to do to open it up. And if anything is soldered down. We do know the RAM is upgradable. We know it's dual channel RAM. We have 16 gigs times 2. So we have two 16 gig modules. We could upgrade those to two 32 gig modules. That would be the maximum at 3200 speed. That appears to be everything there. Let me grab my utilities flash drive here and let's do a crystal disk mark test. Quick. I need to go full screen. So once again, I can't see the chat now. Well, I can see it over here. I don't have eyes like a fish, so I can't look at this at the same time. Let's go over here to our USB drive and let's pull a few things that I like to put on, which will be under PC testing software. I pull CPU-Z. I can pull Crystal Disk Info, Crystal Disk Mark. I don't really think it's fair to run Prime 95 on these, but can. Not really designed to be tortured in that way, but curious minds want to know. Take the C on there. Carey's Windows 10 optimizer, which does work fine on Windows 11. Let's then disconnect the flash drive, or reject it rather. Put that back where it goes, and then we'll go over to Crystal Disk Mark. Run Disk Mark 64. I always use the portable version of my utilities. I don't like to install software and put stuff in the registry and files in the Windows folder of a customer's machine. I think it's disrespectful. It identifies our Lexar SSD NM620, 512 gig. That's Crystal Disk Info, okay. And close that out and go to Crystal Disk Mark this time. Again, we run the portable version. And we'll do all the tests on the C drive, see what kind of numbers we get. Generally speaking, the system integrators, the PC builders, they're not going to give you the fastest available because it costs more, and customers in general are always looking for the cheapest price. So they've got to figure out the middle of the road kind of situation where they don't want to give you something so cheap that it hinders the performance of the machine, but also reduces the cost. And they don't want to get you something so fast that only an enthusiast would want. But then, you know, they have to raise the price of the machine to accommodate something most people would care less about. So here we've got sort of a, if it's Gen 3, we're right at the peak of Gen 3 performance because we're looking at 3,500 megabytes per second. And the Gen 3 NVMe socket can only handle up to about 3,600 before it's fully saturated. To get above 3,600, we have to go to Gen 4. That's going to cost more money. And according to this, this is a Gen 3 socket, I think is what I read. So they actually are doing really good on the SSD. I was kind of expecting that to be about half of what it is. But with 32 gigs of RAM and a Ryzen 7, this is all very much on par, in my opinion, with the rest of the hardware. John Downey wants to know, is DisplayPort better than HDMI? Depends how you use it. Likely you're not going to see any difference. You know, you're not a robot guessing, you're a human being, and you don't have digital eyes. So if HDMI is working out for you at 4K, leave it alone. You could Google to get more into the technical minutiae of that. But the average user just cares if it works. And yeah, if it's working for you, it's fine. Really going to notice any difference. So I'm mainly interested in the two top numbers, the maximum read and the maximum write sequential speed, because that's saying this will be the best this drive can do under the best of circumstances. And 3123, 3124 on our sequential write speed is pretty darn close to our sequential read. When SSDs first came out, especially the NVMe drives, the read speeds were likely twice as fast or 3 times faster than the write speeds. You can see how far the technology's evolved now, that it's not uncommon to get read and write speeds that are very, very close together. So this is much better than I was expecting it. It's definitely impressive that that's what they've decided to go with as the stock factory choice. Not quite sure I could do better than that on my own, sourcing it myself. It wouldn't be much better. So, you know, unless it's a Gen 4 socket. But otherwise, if it's Gen 3, yeah, you'd be hard pressed to do better than that. And it would probably cost you more to do it yourself than to have it done at the factory. Robert McCord Magumi says, hello. Acronis says, I'm still rocking the Samsung 970 Evo Plus 2 terabyte I bought off Amazon after one of your streams and used extensively and absolutely no issues so far. Yeah, no, that's Samsung. You know, they make a solid product and they have great support. And the price on that Samsung 970 Evo, it's been under $100 for that. Now, Amazon Prime Day is coming up on October 10th and 11th. I want to start putting some money away and watch for some specials or stuff like that. We've seen that drive go for $70 on an Amazon Prime Day. Heck of a deal. All right, I think these are our final numbers here. Yeah, those are the final numbers. That's very respectable. Let's go ahead and let's shut this all down. Oh, let me verify we're connected at 2500 speed with the wired network card. Status. Ethernet property. Oh, they moved this all around. Is it advanced network settings? Oh, it's only connected at gigabit. That's interesting. Should be connecting us at 2.5. So just for grins and giggles, I'm going to unplug the LAN adapter or the LAN cable and plug it back in and let it resynchronize. See if it resynchronizes at 2500. Right click, working settings, Ethernet. Yeah, there we go. Now we're at 2500. So I don't know what that was all about, but that's doing what it's supposed to. Okay, let's shut it down. And let me go back over to camera 1 full screen. Camera 1 full screen. There I am. And this is off. Let's take it, unplug everything, especially power. I'm even going to take the USB dongle out for the wireless keyboard and mouse because that could interfere with us pulling the casing off. It may not, but just to be. It often does. So take that out whether we need to or not. And then let's grab the overhead camera. See what the guts look like. Find out how upgradable is it. That question answered. So I figure out how to turn this unit on. Let's see. There's our power button. And let's go to close-up camera. I got to use the right ones. Close-up camera. There. So I'm going to take camera 1 and put myself in a corner again. Oops. Okay, so you guys can see what I'm doing. Turn this over. Oh, look, they're not covering up the screws. Appreciate that very much. Thank you, GEEKOM. Some manufacturers hide the screws under the rubber feet. It annoys me when you have to remove the rubber feet because sometimes they won't ever stick the same way again. So let's see, will the screwdriver work? Yep. It looks like the screws are held captive as well. I appreciate that, so you don't have to worry about setting them down somewhere and knocking them on the floor or misplacing them. We're off to a good start. Now, a couple things you need to be aware of. One is pay particular attention to the orientation of this cover, because it looks like it's potentially possible to put it on in 4 different positions, right? Rotating at 90 degrees. So there is an arrow right there that says front. Well, we're seeing the last 3 letters of the word front. There's the GEEKOM stickers covering that up. There may be, you know, given the thickness of this drive, there may be a place for a 2.5-inch SSD in there, or a 2.5-inch drive, whether it's mechanical or SSD. And if that's true, then there may be a ribbon cable, and you don't want to just yank this thing apart and end up breaking the ribbon cables. So since I don't know whether or not it has that, I'm going to cautiously, oh, careful. Yeah, there is a 2.5-inch drive bay right there. And there is a ribbon cable, just as I suspected. So you wouldn't want to tear that. Inside, oh, look what we have here. We have our 2 RAM modules, right? One and the other one. There. So that's easily upgradable. We've got our Lexar NVMe drive right there. And in most cases, your Wi-Fi card will be underneath this. So we have to remove that to see if the Wi-Fi card is socketed or soldered. So I'm going to grab a more precision driver here to get into the top of that M.2 screw. We have a socketed M2 Wi-Fi card. Wonderful. Everything's upgradable. That's perfect. RAM is upgradable. You've got your NVMe drive that's upgradable. Your Wi-Fi card is upgradable. And it looks like we have a secondary M.2 slot for a 2242 drive. I don't know if that's going to be SATA or NVMe or both. You have to look at the documentation and see. Notice the thermal tape on the bottom of the 2.5-inch drive, so that when that goes on, then the correct orientation that will work to stave off the heat from the M2 drive. It's a nice touch. It also has stamped right here, front. So again, it's important you put the orientation of the back plate on. You know, you don't want to twist it this way or this way or this way. You know, look what it's doing to the ribbon cable. It's not good. Make sure that's kept straight. Now, while I have it open, does anybody have any more questions? Nick Garcia says, Carey, check your email. Righty? And there is a $6.13 contribution via PayPal from Stuart. Well, thank you, Stuart. Appreciate your support very much. And again, another shout out for the extremely generous contribution from our good friend Buster. I didn't emphasize that before. George softly says this proves the bad review was not correct about this machine. Well, yeah, well, we knew when they said Celeron, they weren't talking about this machine. For all we know, they may not even have been talking about a GEEKOM. They were that wrong about which machine it was. Maybe they were wrong about the manufacturer. Who knows? Les Stevenson said, that's a fantastic looking computer, Carey. Gabriel Granado says, I cannot believe how much is packed into this little mini PC. Ken Hodgson says, I've got to go. I'm fishing tomorrow. All right, Ken. Well, thanks for hanging out. Catch a big one. BT says, I am listening, Carey, but I'm working, so I can't chat all the time, but I'm here. It's just nice for folks to say hello. That's all. Appreciate it. Acronis wants to know if he should reactivate his Amazon Prime. I don't know. According to my Amazon, I've saved over $3,900 with my Amazon Prime account, but I order a lot of stuff. And of course, Amazon Prime Day is only for Amazon Prime customers, so you won't get to take advantage of any of the deals if you're not an Amazon Prime customer. But if you're not, you know, if you're broke and you're not buying anything anyway, if you're not in the market, save your money. So I don't know how to answer your question. Gary Walt says the CPU on all these mini PCs, they're using a laptop CPU. Laptop CPUs are almost always universally soldered onto the motherboard. They are not desktop CPUs. They are low power, high performance CPUs. They're not the kind of CPU that a consumer can go and buy. Folks like you and I can't buy these CPUs. The CPU on a mini PC, much the same as a laptop or a tablet or a smartphone, is not upgradable. If you want an upgradable CPU, you really want to be looking at a desktop computer, not a mini PC, tablet, smartphone, or a laptop. There are some exceptions, but they're pretty rare. And you wouldn't want a desktop CPU in a laptop or a mini PC because it would require much more aggressive cooling and it would consume a lot more power. Any other questions about the insides here before I put it back together? For about 20 minutes left. I like to keep these at or under 2 hours. And so we're about an hour and 40 into this. I am not seeing any other questions. Martin Hogg with a £9.99 contribution, or as they say, £9.99. Says, thanks again, Carey. Thank you, Martin Hogg. Martin, I believe, joins us from Scotland. All right, so. Oh, there's your memory card reader right there. So put that back in. To screw here. Module. Now this brand is something I've never heard of before that they're using, but it's not really important to me as long as it works. It's reliable. Why pay more for a name brand? You don't have to. So that's our memory put back in, and then this arrow says to the front. The front is facing me. We also know that that thermal pad is going to go over the meter. So you'll see that this ribbon cable that comes off of the 2.5-inch drive connector is going to go off to the left side here. It's going to be a little bit twisted. And this metal piece right here, this is where your Kensington lock is going to secure. So and then that's through this other piece of metal that's around the frame. So nobody's going to be breaking that. They're not going to pull on it and break it free. It'd be easier to have to cut the Kensington lock cable. So once you have it aligned correctly, it should seat right down. And don't over tighten these screws. Do yourself a favor and get them all started. I think that screwdriver is too small. I know I used my yellow handled driver, but it feels a little bit big. It's better. So we'll just get these started. We'll make sure that that's flush. Tighten everything down. My yellow handled screwdriver was a better fit after all. Just snug, don't over tighten these. I'm going to make it harder for yourself the next time you want to get into it. And then we'll plug it back in here. Ethernet. Go over to our HDMI input. And it appears we didn't break it. Good for us. Okay. My thanks again to the folks at GEEKOM for sending us the unit for review and giving us a discount code that is for our audience. That is for you guys to take advantage of. It's our discount code, strictly for you guys. So if you want to save some money on it, take advantage of the discount code, whether you choose to buy it from GEEKOM Direct or from Amazon, either way. If you do buy one of these, we'd love to hear what your experience with it is, what you think of it, what you like or what you don't like. Leave it in the comments below the video. I'm going to finish things up here as far as I'll put VLC on. I'll run Uncle Carey's Windows 10 optimization tool on there. Sort of do the standard things I do, all my builds. And I'll do that off. Let's go ahead and start that in a second. And then we're going to go back to full screen here on camera 1. And yeah, seeing the access denied, it's just turning off indexing just to free up some drive space. And any files that are in use, say access denied, but it's still flipping that flag so that it won't index anymore. Badging Guy says, nice video, Carey. Well, thank you. Appreciate the chat room universally being courteous today. I didn't have to turn on members only mode. I appreciate that. John Williams says, that's an awesome little PC. George wants to know, is there 2 M.2 slots? Yes. Yeah. You can go back and rewatch the video, and you'll see that there are actually 3 M.2 slots. One is an M.2 Wi-Fi slot. The other is an M.2 2280 that sits above the Wi-Fi. And then there's a 2242 smaller M.2 drive would go there if you wanted to use it, along with the SATA 2.5-inch drive capability, as well as being able to plug in whatever drive you want through the USB ports. And you can drive 4 monitors with this bad boy. 2 monitors through HDMI and 2 monitors through the USB Type-C. Wait, there's one USB Type-C? No, there's 2 back there. So yeah, you could have 4 monitors going at the same time. Gregory Howard with a wonderful contribution of $100 super chat. He says, here you go, Carey. Have a good supper with your wife. I appreciate it, Gregory. And as I mentioned, while I appreciate all contributions, the generous contributions like yours, YouTube's going to take $30 of that and make me wait over a month before I'll get it. And I'm grateful and appreciative of your contribution. If you send your contribution via PayPal, PayPal will only take 3%. And if you send an Amazon gift card, Amazon will take nothing. So when people are contributing, $5, $10 in super chat, it's not a big deal. When the contributions are extremely generous in super chat, you're giving YouTube more money. But I am deeply appreciative regardless, and I thank you so much for your generosity and your support. Badging Guy said, did you see my little gift via PayPal? You might have mentioned it earlier. I'm not sure what your real name is. I don't think it came in via Badging Guy. I see a $10 contribution from Nick Garcia, $6.13 from somebody named Stewart. And of course, the Amazon gift cards from Dwayne Blackwelder, our good friend Peter Laycock. Oh, and a $10 contribution from Michael Carter at PayPal. Thanks, you guys. Again, I really appreciate you guys supporting the channel so I'm not making commercials essentially for companies. This is a mutually reciprocal benefit for GEEKOM and for me and for you in that they're not paying for this content. I'm not paying for the computer they send. And you guys, you get more variety of content as well as a discount code that GEEKOM is generously offering our audience. So if it's something you're interested in, they're doing something for you guys that they don't do for everybody else, and that is giving you an extra discount. So our deepest thanks and gratitude to GEEKOM and for including us on their 20th anniversary celebration. That was really neat. The only other company I've seen offer this is Be Quiet. They've been generally sending out something around Christmas time every year, very similar. And I just think it's a first-class thing to do. It's completely unnecessary as far as how we evaluate their products, of course, whether or not the products are what I feel of value. But this is just icing on the cake. I don't know what else to say. It's pretty rare to see companies do this stuff nowadays. It used to be pretty common. 20 years ago. But these days, they're squeezing every penny and every dime, and these companies often don't show that level of appreciation to the folks that support them. And when they do, it blows me away. Again, for everybody who has contributed via Super Chat today, I'll give a shout out and a thank you one more time to these kind folks and generous folks too. Gregory Howard, Martin Hogg, Alvin Shaver, Paul O'Brien, Ben Laird, and Peter VC, Planet Cryos, and Jack Wilson, as well as Mark Gaines and our good friend Peter Laycock, or we call him Buster. And welcome to our new members, Nigel and Mike, who became new members supporting the channel, and to our members of our tech club. And somebody renewed. Oh, LRCX renewed his membership. Awesome. Thank you for continuing to support the channel. You guys rock. And without you, a lot of this content would not exist. So thank you. Thank you also to Camera Girl. She's the one who created the thumbnail and all the keywords and tags and pretty much put the whole video description together and prepped it. So getting her trained, and she's coming along quite nicely, I must say. And yeah, I think that's everything. If you guys have any questions for GEEKOM, you can reach out to their support, or you can leave your question in the comments below this video. And hopefully those folks at GEEKOM will inspect it from time to time and address your concerns or questions. Unless I know the answer, then I'll respond. Thanks to everybody for joining. Jesse wants to know if I know if it allows for AVX, Advanced Vector Extension. Might buy one for DJing. I don't know the answer to that. However, you can email GEEKOM. Their email address is right on the box, wasn't it? It was on that paper. It's in the box. I'll just walk this up to the camera. They absolutely encourage you to reach out to them. They welcome your emails. You can see the little picture of the envelope on the lower right side, right in the middle, kind of. It says support@geekompc.com. And yeah, or of course, go to the website, look through the detailed specifications to see if it mentions AVX. I don't know. So I can't say anybody's really ever asked that question before to me personally. However, I am sure the folks at GEEKOM know the answer to that. All right, that's going to wrap it up for me for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, for being kind and supportive. I can't stress how important that is and how critical it is for the future success of our community. Jason H88 renews membership now for the 16th month, right on. He says, hello, Carey, Marlena, and the greatest online community there is. Well, it's the greatest online community because you guys are the community, right? The community is not any better than the people that are the community. So by saying it's the greatest online community, that means all of you are the greatest, which is true. You guys are what make this community so amazing. And thank you for being a part of it. I'll see you all very, very soon. Until next time, bye for now. And as a reminder, all the links, the discount codes, they're all in the video description below the video. Okay, now I'm going to run my outro as soon as I find one. I think I'm just going to run a quick one. Okay. Until next time, bye for now.